Man, it is so nice out today. It's 70 degrees, so I just got home from work on my scooter, so I decided, I'm gonna take the KLR out. I haven't ridden this one in a while. Surprisingly, this bike is taller than the Super Tenere. It's so warm that I have my nice gloves on. I love these gloves. This guy's smoking the weed. Oh yeah, look at that. You smell the weed. Yeah, it's so funny. You can like really smell it. You know, DC's got this weird subculture of like people that love weed. I don't really like it, but I'd like to grow it. Oh man, listen to that engine. Damn, that engine is so good. The guy's actually got two fancy exhausts. You can't beat the klr650. I think that's funny. No, go ahead, buddy. Go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, he was making a U-turn. What the hell? And you know, it's kind of like what they say, like when you go to a restaurant, you eat with your eyes. Sometimes you ride with your ears. Look, I mean, listen to that. I think I'm going like 100 miles an hour. I look down and I'm going 40. That is a good speed sensation. Oh man, I still think the XR650R is more fun, but damn, this thing is a beast. Now, I've taken various bikes through here, and it's kind of like a test of like suspension, because this road is very uneven and it used to be a lot more uneven. So one of the downsides of having this bike and any thumper, especially with an aftermarket exhaust like this, is that people will hear you coming, and by people I mean cops. This thing doesn't have the crazy power the Super Tenere has, so. But it does go pretty well. Like, I'm already at 60. Brakes are not very good. The front brake is kind of very soft. Is this a cop? That's a cop car, but is it a cop? I don't know. Very confusing sometimes. The gears are so bad. A little bit of a wheelie. The gears are so bad, like I don't know what gear I'm in. Terrible gearbox that the KLR has, but that I'm in 5th gear, so I'll downshift a little bit. You don't need to do a lot of downshifting on this, because it's not meant to be like, oh man, it's just so, yeah, I'm afraid of the tires, but I can kind of squirt out a bit. You just twist throttle like completely, and no matter what gear you're in, you're never going to spin, and you'll never like do a wheelie on it, unintentionally anyway. Yeah, like in the corners, like the wobbling, it's hard to like forget, especially if you're coming from a sport bike. From a sport bike, you're going to have this very stiff suspension throughout, but the interesting thing about these dual sports, and this is a proper dual sport, it's not an adventure bike per se, even though it's an adventure bike, but adventure bikes initially were dual sports, and then they became something else. They're basically removing the sport touring machines and kind of combining everything together. But this is a proper dual sport bike, and this is a more dirt or road oriented dual sport. And you know, usually like the adventure bikes, dual sports, they're either too dirt or too road, and this is definitely the more road oriented version. But the guys who ride this, they will ride it throughout all sorts of conditions. You can ride this on some very tight single track trails. The handlebars is just so fast forward. It's almost like an aggressive attack position. And if I stand up, yeah, it feels really good to stand up on this too. The Super 10 Ray is actually good for standing up as well, but when you stand up on the 10 Ray, you feel that massive weight. Of people use the KLR650 as a commuter. It makes perfect sense to use this as a commuter, but then I wonder, for a little bit more money or a little bit less money, you can get a V-Strom 650, and the V-Strom 650s I think are better for commuters in my condition, because the V-twin style helps out so much. It keeps the revs a little bit lower, the engine lasts a little bit longer. You know, there's V-Stroms running around with like 200,000 miles, and I think the V-Strom still is a little bit better as a commuter. But if you like the styling and dual sport nature, the KLR just you can't go wrong. It really is one of these very simple bikes that you can just keep for a very long time and ride the living crap out of it. The KLR650, I'm actually tiptoeing it on my Super 10. Look at that, it's so hard to shift into neutral. On the Super 10 Ray, I do feel that it is a little bit lower. But look at that, let's turn it off and just look around. It is so loud, such a loud bike, but it sounds good. And I didn't use earplugs because I wanted to listen to that engine. And this is the reason I'm not going too fast. You see the tire is like really flat. I've never seen a tire this flat. Never seen a tire this flat. It's as if like you never leaned the bike ever. No, I think that's an expensive tire. All the kids are talking about this one. Oil, I think, was recently changed. I just need to clean it up, give it a nice bath. The chain is adjusted. Yeah, it doesn't need much. You just gotta ride it. Oh yeah, it does need a new brake lever. That's pretty much it. Doesn't wheelie with the throttle, that's the problem. Corners, man, I'm not used to this bike in the corners. A little bit hard to see the pea gravel. This bike does feel like it can handle going into corners very fast, or at least that's the tires. That's what the tires are telling me. It did come up a little bit, but not much. Well, the conclusion is that you should definitely get a KLR650 and get a FMF exhaust. It really accompanies it very well. You know, the exhaust to the motorcycle is kind of like eating a piece of cheese and drinking a glass of wine. It goes together very well. and you got to pick the right wine and the right cheese, and then you have a great combination. But this one is an extremely good sounding bike. Oh, cyclists. Don't want to scare these guys. Well guys, thanks for riding with me on the klr650. Man, I could ride this thing for so long, just because the exhaust note is just so awesome sounding. But it's time to head out. So this guy was in the middle of the road. Pay attention, douche. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.
This isn't my real job, you know.